I mean it, especially those moments. And especially for those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb, the African-American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours.
Hey, welcome back to the channel with your man Wise. Back at it again with another reaction video. All right, now I am checking out a video. This is from the Philip Scott podcast, I believe. Hey, this brother right here is putting the warning out there. He's warning the community. Don't fall for the fear mongering from these Democrats. They come around every 4 years. They want our votes. They never offer anything, but they come around every 4 years or so, pimping and pandering. They're at the black churches. They're at the, different, black community centers, which are now being ran, by migrants or overran by migrants. I don't know where they're going to go now, outside of the church. But a lot of black folks are starting to fall away from the church, because they've seen that, some of these churches are being used, by these politicians. People are starting to open their eyes up. They are starting to wake up, and I'm 100% here for it. Please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support, man. I love hearing from you guys. I have an email address, askwisetoday@gmail.com. Shoot me a message if you want to just say what's up. Give me some encouraging words. Tell me that you love, what I'm doing, or you hate it. I can take the, I can take the criticism as well. I'm trying to get 1% better on a day-to-day basis. Business inquiries, hit me up. That's the best email to reach me on. And, if there's any content that you'd like me to check out, send that my way as well. Let's get into the video. But first, a quick word from our sponsor, Young G's Barbecue Sauce.
Burgers. Ribs marinated to perfection. Chicken. Shish kebabs. Plain tendency. Young G's Barbecue Sauce. American.
Hey, get you some Young G's barbecue sauce. It's available at walmart.com. Check out the description box below. You'll see a link there. Hey, support a service. What is it? A service disabled veteran owned organization. This brother served in the Army in the early 2000s. Support his business. He's doing great work for the community. He's doing good work and just showing a positive example for service members out there that, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me slide the video in. All right. Perfect. Without further ado, let go.
More and more black people are waking up to the fact of what's going on with the Democrat Party, how they just come around and in the end, they don't do nothing at all. So you got our brother here that's going to touch on that, and we want to follow up behind that because you're seeing more and more black people speaking this way. Let's roll that.
All right, guys, y'all know what time it is. The 4th year of this presidential term is coming to an end, which means that the is about to happen. For all you black folks out there that are in your 60s, 70s, 20s, you liberals, that's still walking around, and mind you, but we're on the topic of Democrats that's still walking around claiming Democratic Party. It's so religious. I'm going to vote Democrat next year. And then I'm speaking specifically to the black folks out there. Imagine a man piggybacking off the ideal of Black Lives Matter, right? Making his whole campaign about Black Lives Matter. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And only to get voted in off piggybacking off of Black Lives Matter. Fast forward 4 years later, only to not do anything. Nothing for Black Lives People Matter. Whatever. Black people. Imagine that, right? Imagine that. Imagine the fact that black people voted this man in. And mind you, You know what? I will even go so far to say disrespect black people in the foulest manner by putting in law, stop Asian hate before he does anything pertaining to black folks, which is the whole concept of his administration run. Hey, this sad, but you can't do nothing but laugh nowadays. If this don't tell you nothing, people, nothing. Now, I know some of you all, especially you boomers, yeah, you boomers, whatever you want to call them, you are religious on politicians. I don't know why, because you've been on this planet for 7 years and not a goddamn thing changed. But if anything don't tell you all, leave these damn politicians alone, and especially the Democratic Party. Please leave them alone.
Now, I'm in 100% agreement, with our brother. The Democrat Party doesn't do anything for black Americans. As he said, they piggyback and roll black people's emotions during the George Floyd. They were saying, oh, Trump is a danger. You got to get Trump out. We're going to do something for black people. We're going to create a police accountability commission in the White House. We're going to work on qualified immunity. And then the moment Biden got in office, like, let Congress handle that. I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That was the crazy part. Oh, before he even got sworn in, he told all the bootlicks that you guys got to work with the Hispanics, because it's more of them than y'all. Basically trying to tell black folk, you got to use them as a buffer class to talk before you talk to us. That's all he's saying. Mm-hmm. We got to go in between now. You got to talk to them, then they can come talk to us. Like, yeah, Biden was on one, right? But that's what black folks get. That's what you get. Old crime bill, Biden there.
Crime bill
this man
Joe.
Been doing things bad to black people. And it's not just Biden. It's the whole Democrat Party. You promise things, you don't do it. Then when you get in office, you give things to everybody but black folk. That's the thing. It's not like you didn't give nothing to nobody. Oh, no. The Asian community gave them a hate crime bill. Ukrainians are getting money, so much money. You're giving money to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. You're giving money to all these migrants that come in, right? Just giving them money, making landlords house them, paying them gobs of money to house them. You're taking community centers from neighborhoods to put migrants in, and they all kind of things that you're doing. Everybody else outside of black folks is benefiting from the Democrat Party. It doesn't even make any kind of sense. It just really don't. But it's our collective fault, and I say collective because not every black person voted for him, but it's enough of us that have voted for him.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep putting in the Democrats, that's what you're going to get. And then they always ask the same stupid question. Well, what the Republicans going to do? You don't vote for them. So what could we say right now? Now, you have a lot of black people saying, I'm not voting for a Democrat. I'm not voting for a Republican. I'm voting for the couch. And I got to say, that's fine with me. You vote for the couch. That is fine. No problem. I just said, as long as you don't give your vote to a Democrat, Democrats need to lose elections for a few cycles. Because black folks, that's the only way we're going to get something. I'm telling y'all, you keep playing this game with Democrats, you'll never get anything. You got to let Democrats know you can't be in any kind of power without us. And until you make the Democrats lose for some election cycles, they're never ever in their life going to do nothing for you other than just pander. They're going to pander on top of pander on top of pandering.
That's it.
That's it. They're not going to do what's right for black people whatsoever.
I'm going to say this, and shout out to Phil. He does great work, over on his channels, supporting the African diaspora, as well as, just, putting out content, to help, uplift black people all around the country. I will say this. For one, he's 100% right. The brother that was speaking, 100% right. He said it for 4 years, but we're in year 4. They're already, Joe Biden, they just showed him, at a church, a couple weeks back, he was at a black church, I believe in South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, pimping and pandering. We seen it. Although, it seems like there were some protesters, some quote unquote pro Palestine protesters, you know, in the church for whatever reason. I don't know. But let's just go back. And the brother, he said it right. He said the boomer class. And a lot of you guys got on me. But what I was meaning by that was, you know, a lot of our, you know, boomers in the black community are, he said it, religious when it comes to voting for these Democrats. And a lot of it just has to do, it's just ignorance. They don't know the history of the policy. They only know what they've been told by other people. They haven't taken the time to go do the research for themselves. There's some older folks, you know, in the gym that I go to, and you know, I've had this conversation with them on numerous occasions, you know, about why y'all continue to vote for, you know, this party that does absolutely nothing for black people. And I've had people just flat out tell me I vote blue no matter who, because that's just what I do. They couldn't give you any reason. They can't give you a policy that they like. They can't give you any of that and the only thing they can tell you is, hey, the Republicans are racist. That's the only thing that they can tell you. And when I start to refute it just with factual policies and just talk about the policies that were implemented, man, you always talking policy. You don't, man, you always talking policy. I'm like, that's the only thing that I care about. I'm only concerned with the policies. Do the policies help or hurt us? Again, Phil was 100% right. You know, Joe Biden got into office on the backs of black folks, on the back of the Black Lives Matter movement. And obviously all those Democratic shields out there, you know, pushing this false narrative of, you know, racism coming from the right. He got in on that. Now, I'm not a fan of the Black Lives Matter movement. Once I thought for a second, you know, when I first heard it, I was like, interesting. Then when you go and actually do some research and you find out what these people are actually about, I'm like, hey, I can't be a part of this. You know, right off the rip, when it comes through and saying, hey, we're not for the nuclear family, that right there is enough. I don't even need to hear anything else that they got to say when they say we're not against them. We're not for and we're not advocating for the nuclear family, when we know that kids that grow up in strong families with moms and dads, those kids are more likely to be a success. And when you have a foundation, a movement that's wrapped around that not being something that they are in agreement with, I just can't get behind that. He hit the nail on the head again when he said, hey, Biden gets in the office and says, hey, y'all need to go work with the Latinos, the Hispanics, to get anything pushed. And I'm like, they try to, you know, put everybody in the same pot, you know, black and brown people. No, we have we have some of the same issues, you know, but we also have some separate issues as well. You know, and then you just look at it from an American standpoint and just say, hey, Americans have, you know, middle class, poor Americans. We have similar issues, you know, that we're dealing with here in this nation. These people have gotten in office on the backs of black people. Black people, I think the last election, I think 92% of black people voted for Joe Biden this last election in 2020 or 2019. Whenever the election was, I think it was 2020. 92% of black people voted for Joe Biden. And the first thing he does when he gets in the office is he cuts the money off for HBCUs that Trump gave. And then the first bill that he passes is an Asian hate crime bill. I mean, a complete slap in the face to black people. When he himself said, if it wasn't for the black community, I wouldn't be where I'm at. Yeah, and there's a whole lot of Democrats that can say the same exact thing. Look at Joe Clyburn down in South Carolina. He doesn't do anything for those folks down there. But when it's election time, he's offering some free fish sandwiches. He may not even, those fish plates or sandwiches, they may not even be free, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't live in South Carolina. Can somebody please tell me, if you live in South Carolina, have you ever been to a Jim Clyburn fish fry? Is the food free or is he charging you by the plate? I'm interested. Is it a fundraiser? Is it a way for them to you know, donate, raise some funds, you know, or is he legitimately offering, you know, fish fries, you know, to these folks? Now, we know what time it is with the Democrats. They don't care about us. We know that. They only care about the votes. When you look at the policies that they implement, the policies are actually detrimental to everyone, not just black people, but to everyone. But their policies, definitely, affect, poor people and lower class individuals, lower middle class people, their policies. We look at it now. Even if you were in the middle class, you probably took a step down. If you were upper middle class, you're probably middle class. If you were, I guess middle class, you're now lower middle class. And those that were lower middle class when this administration started are now, in the more on the poorer side of things. That's just what it is. These people don't care about us. And it's obvious that there is a situation where we have these people coming up from the border and their expectation is to make these people legalized citizens, give them jobs like we've seen up in New York. Kathy Hochul, I think, has 4,000 state jobs that she wants to give these people. Brandon Johnson out in Chicago charging a wage tax in a state that's a no state tax state. So they can take care of migrants. They're literally they know that black folks are waking up and saying, we ain't doing this no more. So they're trying to replace us. Point blank, period. But at this point now, it's time for us to get a whole lot more politically astute. Stop listening to the rhetoric and start looking at the policies. And if you agree with the policies, vote accordingly. And even when I had those conversations with those older gentlemen, I asked them the same thing. I was like, you know what? Even if you want to vote Democrat, I don't care. You have the right to vote for whoever you want to vote for. But if you're telling people that you vote this way and people ask you why you vote this way, you should be able to say why you vote this way. And not just say, I do it because I always done it. And when people ask you, what are the policies that you are, that you're for, that really helped or that really resonated with you, you should be able to say at least one. I've asked people, about Obama and it's like, hey, could you name one thing that he did positive for black folks? The 8 years that he was in office. Most people couldn't tell you one thing. Now, if you ask someone about, name a positive thing that Trump did for black folks, there's at least two things that most people could name. And typically, really and truly, you could probably name 3 or 4. But one, he gave money to HBCUs, more money to HBCUs than any other president ever gave. 2, First Step Act, which helped thousands of black folks get out of prison that were locked up on, felony cases that were not nonviolent felony cases. Those are 2 things. The third, the big one, opportunity zones in these areas, giving people the opportunity to start businesses, get an actual designation to be able to go after government contracts and things of that nature. I think that's something that needs to be expanded. When Biden got in the office, you would have thought that would have been the one thing that he could say, you know what, this is a good idea. I'm going to expand on this and I'm going to make sure that there is a percentage of government contracts that go to businesses that fall into these opportunity zones. That was created during the Trump administration. Did that happen? Absolutely not. People's lives have gotten worse during this administration, not better. So I'm going to parrot, what this brother said in the car, what brother Phil said as well. Don't fall for it, man. I keep saying it, man. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. That's a Beverly Hills Cop, reference. Don't fall for it, man. These people don't mean you any good. And I 100% with Phil. I don't think that the Democrats need to just, lose elections over the next couple cycles. I don't think they should ever win another election because their policies hurt. Their policies don't help. Their policies hurt. And that's the God's honest truth, in my opinion. Please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. America first. Keep God very, very high in your life. And I'm going to catch up with y'all next time. We out. Peace.